Bingy, Okavango, Rasdada, Yaga, Chuck Fender, the Living Fire, represent to the fullest. See? Perfect balance. Don't know.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Perfect Balance TrodClass, a place where conscious-minded and like-minded individuals are guided towards the full development of their potential through collective reasoning. We have with us today Brother Bingi,
Greeting.
Brother Okavango, the Rebel Guru.
Yeah.
Yes, I. Normally, we would also have Brother Yaga, aka Teacher Mahat. He's away handling some family matters at the moment. So our thoughts go out to Brother Yaga. I'm yours truly, Rasdada, and we are the Perfect Balance TrodClass. Well, go on, my lad.
Yeah,
Over
man. Give
there,
thanks
give
for life.
thanks, man.
Yeah, man,
God
give
must see
thanks.
curry no favor.
Yes, I give Isis. Give Isis. You know, just to be funny, I wanna say Merry Christmas. You know?
What them funny argument there? What them funny argument
Yes,
there?
cause as a
We
hint as to
always
what we're
iron,
gonna.
man. We always iron no matter the season, no
Yes,
matter the
yeah.
time, you know what I
No,
mean?
well, just
Yeah.
just just as a hint towards what we're gonna be talking about today, we're gonna be talking about the Christmas because it's the season we're in at the moment, and the actual day is upon us. So I want to just give a disclaimer that I'm not a supporter of Christmas. I am not a person who endorses this idea or this tradition. So I don't want anyone to
Let's
say
talk
because
about
I
that.
said
Let's talk about that. Why not celebrating Christmas?
why I don't celebrate Christmas.
Why, yeah.
First of all, because I don't celebrate Jesus. So that's primarily it. I don't
So what
celebrate Jesus.
about suppose it's not Jesus, suppose it's Yahshua though?
I don't celebrate Yeshua either.
But we know the day itself, we can celebrate it no matter what. The
Naturally.
day.
So
Well, we
The
celebrate the
day
date.
itself. Like
The day.
nobody talking about Christmas in the sense why Christians celebrate it or whoever, but people in general, right? Just the influence of Christmas itself. I don't celebrate Christmas myself, but the day itself, it's celebratory then to like
mhm.
people are all different faiths and stuff like that, right? Even
the,
people who
the,
don't even
the,
prescribe to it, and we, like I said, I don't really celebrate Christmas, but if we look at it from that point of view, it seems like it's a holiday that most people, no matter what, celebrate. No matter what the origin or Christmas is or whatever
Uh, but I get it because
religion you subscribe
that's what's
to.
going on at the time though, Bingy, because it's like a season where, you know what I mean, you
Yeah,
get family together, no matter
yeah,
your religion or whatever, families
yeah,
coming together, you know
yeah,
what I mean? It's a
yeah,
holiday,
yeah.
you know what I mean? You get to sit down with your family and make, you know what I mean?
mhm.
But
Hmm.
the day, because Christmas is supposed to be Jesus Christ's birthday. That's what it should be now.
So are you saying the day or the date?
The date,
The date,
right?
okay.
The
Right.
date.
So the 25th of December.
25th of December
Okay, gotcha.
is supposed to be Jesus Christ's birthday, and that's
Mm-hmm.
why in this modern time people
Mm-hmm.
are celebrating it. But we
Mm-hmm.
know we know that
But we
the
know the
day.
day itself predates Christianity. The
That's what I'm
date,
saying.
yeah,
So I'm saying the modern celebration is supposed to be Jesus Christ's birthday,
yeah, yeah,
but
Mm-hmm.
the
yeah.
date predates the
Christianity,
celebration. By the way, the celebration
yeah,
Predates
predates
Christianity.
yeah.
predates
Christianity.
Christ.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and then that's
And
hypothetical, right? Even the data price, right? So like the Romans, right? They had a pagan holiday on the 25th of December, right? Which
Hmm.
predates Christianity by over 300 years, right? So we know the Romans were celebrating paganism or pagan holiday on that day as well, right?
As
And
well.
now they adapt this day for Christ, right? But it's ironic because if you look at the dates that people select to celebrate these birthdays or these
mm-hmm.
significant milestones of deities, right? They
Mm-hmm.
also represented in nature what is happening in nature itself,
Nature,
right?
she,
The
right.
Yeah.
changing of the season, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
when they say pagan, then right, and some people think, hey, paganism. No, these people had such a connection. They were actually celebrating seasonal changes throughout the year. They could
So
you could see that the holidays related to change, and
to
what
the
we
change
call
of the
it
thing.
paganism, right? Or they talk about the birth of Christ and the birth of Christ,
Mm-hmm.
right? Who nobody knows, right? What day he really born on. You choose the exact pagan day because of the symbolism of the birth of Christ. But
Mm-hmm.
Christmas being, the birth of Christ for Christians is fine if that's what you prescribe to.
Um, what I would also like to identify as well, that this 25th of December being the birthday of the deity in this religion, Christianity, is not the first religion or only religion that celebrates a deity with a birthday of December the 25th.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right? There are many religions, right, who have deities
There are many deities
who
that were born,
on
And
supposedly
December the
born on the
25th
25th of
of
December.
because
December.
it's
Right.
symbolic.
Right.
It's symbolic.
So let us talk about what it's symbolic of, because you make mention of the Roman holiday, which was the I don't speak Latin, so I'm gonna try my best to pronounce these terminologies.
Mm-hmm.
The Dies Solis Invicti Nati.
Mm-hmm.
And what that is supposed to mean is
That's the
the
Roman, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
day of the birth of the unconquered son. So that's what
Mm-hmm.
that means, which is the day that they celebrated. So the day of the birth of the unconquered son, right? But what religion did was to change the sun sun
The
into the
SON.
sun
What's the name of the
son.
pagan one?
That's the name of the pagan one,
Is it Roman?
right? The
Yeah,
Romans
yeah,
were considered
yeah.
pagans. They
No,
They,
were
they,
man.
they
It's two of them, man.
Mhm.
Look it up. Yeah, the
Right.
pagan holiday and the Roman holiday, they'll put been put into one, man. Look on it.
That's what I said to you. Say paganism, right? Are the celebrations pre-Christianity, right? So
Yeah.
pre-Christianity, what them used to celebrate was the day of the birth of the unconquered son,
yeah, yeah,
right? And then when them bring in
yeah.
Christianity now, what them do now is them replace the sun, which was the pagan celebration, quote unquote pagan celebration,
Mm-hmm.
with the son, which was where them changed from pagan to papal, right?
PayPal.
To papal. Papal meaning
Mm-hmm.
being
People,
associated to the Pope,
yeah.
being
The
associated to
Catholic
Christianity. Right,
um
right.
religion. Yeah. But
So
again,
so the point I want to make is that these deities that were from these multiple religions were pointing us to nature. It was an attempt at pointing us to nature.
Mm-hmm.
But people who just get stuck in the rhetoric or the dogma of the religion, those things completely pass them, because
right,
all they're seeing is just the dogma. They're sticklers of what you're supposed to be doing to be a part of this religion, and they're missing what the religion was actually intended to teach them.
right.
Hmm.
They're only looking at it from the point of view Christ the man,
Hmm.
like the actual man called
Right,
Christ, right?
right.
Instead
Hmm.
of the symbolism of it all, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It's funny because you always talk about they talk about Christ and birth and stuff like that. And listen, religion is necessary, and then you wonder like if I would really want to know the most important human being that lived on the earth, and you have no evidence, right?
Hmm.
Except for what men say of a man, how many hundreds of years later, basically, right? Um,
Hmm.
and it's not even that. I think we are at a point in human history or evolution where we should be doing due diligence to find out what we really know or ought to know, right? So
Hmm.
if you say today is Christmas, for example, that's good. It's a tradition and it's a celebratory tradition. right? Like I said before, everybody participates, whether you're Christian or not, because it's this thing. But you realize that man has been doing this pre-Christian era, then, right? And you realize that no matter what we call it, it seems like the forces and nature, right, just brings you to that in every time then. Whether you call it
Mm-hmm.
Christmas, Kwanzaa, whatever you want to call it, right? Whatever holiday. But the energy, right, that we're talking about, it pointing you to the change or harvest or Saturn, as they say, the god of
Mm-hmm.
agriculture.
Mm-hmm.
It is pointing you to this energy source that is happening during that time.
That
Think
period
that
of
think
time,
about
yes.
what's happening here, right? Even
Mm-hmm.
from pre religion, then men are
Mm-hmm.
celebrated in this
Celebrating.
time
Yeah.
because
Mm-hmm.
of the energy that is happening in this time. So
Right.
so that's why
True.
they point you to like Saturn and they say, hey, this is the force and nature. It's real
Mm-hmm.
thing, But we have to realize what is actually happening, right?
Yes,
And
sir.
and moving beyond your religious identity is hard for a lot of people, right?
Very.
Because they seem like, hey, boy, I giving up this thing. You're not really giving it up. You're understanding it. It's a
Hear this now.
difference.
Hear this now. I have a list of deities that was born
Born on
on
December 25th.
December the
And then,
25th.
yeah,
Hear
You,
yes,
this.
you have the years as well?
Yeah, I think we have the years. Yeah,
good.
You have
yeah,
the years. Read the years as well, too.
yeah. Horus,
Yeah.
an Ethiopian Sudanese god born December the 25th by a virgin around 300 years before Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Buddha,
Mm-hmm.
a Nepal god born December 25th by a virgin around around 563 years before Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Krishna, a Indian god born December 25th by a virgin around 900 years before Christ. So
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I'm born a virgin. Zarathustra, a
That
Iranian god born December 25th by a virgin around 1000 years before Christ. Hercules, a, a Greek god born December 25th by a virgin around 800 years before Christ. Mithra, a
Mitra.
Persian god born December 25th by a virgin 600 years before Christ. Dion, can you find it? Dionysos, a Greek god.
Yeah.
Dionysus, what's his name?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, I can't call, make me know Greek.
Mm-hmm.
He was born December 25th by a virgin 500 years before Christ. But it's Tammuz, a Babylon god, born December 25th by a virgin also, 400 years before Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Hermes, a Hermes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hermes.
A
Yeah.
Greek god, born December 25th by a virgin around 200 years before Christ. Adonis, a what is Phoenician,
Mm-hmm. Phoenician.
Phoenician god, a Phoenician god born December 25th by a virgin around 200 years before Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And Jesus Christ, the youngest god, Jesus Christ, a Roman god, born December 25th by a virgin around, the first to the 30th,
You say he's a Roman god.
a Roman god,
Out of the list, we want to highlight Hercules, right?
Hercules, yeah,
Yeah, we want to highlight Hercules because I think Hercules is somebody where everybody will look on and say this is a mythological figure. This
yeah,
person was, most people go acknowledge that this person ever real. You get what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Because they won't acknowledge that this is a mythological figure.
yeah,
Right. So may I say, if we got to a point where we could acknowledge that this is a mythological figure, then I think it's time we get to the point where we realize that Jesus is a mythological figure too.
Ah.
yeah,
Ah. Yeah. Well, you and I might seem to think that, right, Ras?
yeah,
Right. But that's the point, right, Ras? The alternative is to recognizing what is happening, right? And
Mm.
it's the mythos. The mythos will always be there, right? Because I think it's
Mm-hmm.
necessary. Because the ignorant are the ignorant, right? We are all ignorant. It's condition of human beings. So these things are necessary for human beings in the sense that it's supposed to what leads them to truth then, right?
Mm-hmm.
Identifying what is actually being spoken about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, what happens is a lot of
They get
them,
caught up.
yeah, they get trapped, right? By the word, but not understanding the word then, right? Like, yeah, you talk to a brother, for example, and he's professing some other faith. The thing he's going to come to you is what's been written. He's going to repeat to you from, well, this book say this chapter say this, that, but that's just repetition. Do you understand what they meant by what they saying? So,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the confusion, right? These quotes that men make to you, right, when
Mm-hmm.
you're having conversation with them. Well, the
Mm-hmm.
book of James say this, or they said it. Yeah, but do
Mm-hmm.
you understand what that actually means, right?
Right.
In its real
Um.
context. And that's what we're trying to highlight too,
Right.
right?
To the
Like
people.
even
Yeah.
the dates then, like when you think
Mm-hmm.
about the dates itself
Dates.
then, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what it really mean historically, right? Rather than
What's the
what
purpose
you
of it?
think. Yeah, and even if you're a Christian, theological scholars say that Jesus, the man you prescribe to be this Christ, he was actually born in June. The holiday is celebrated in December, but there's no
Mm-hmm.
theological expert that's saying he's born on the 25th,
Of
right? They're
December.
saying he's
Mm-hmm.
born in June, right? Based on whatever evidence they come up with, based on whatever
Mm-hmm.
is written. So
Their
in
reason.
that, if you are Christian, you should know that at least, right?
Yeah.
But
Because
but
you're
but if you look at
professing
the
to know.
story, right? If you look at the story, there should be no confusion, for the date of birth of this Jesus,
Right.
because him born in our census,
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So there should be no confusion as to when this man born,
Yeah,
because
census, yeah.
according to the story, him born in our
Census,
census.
yeah.
So you know
Most
see it.
most things it one and I said these times you go by the seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And one season where it's you're sure that based on what was going on, you're sure that it wasn't born in winter.
Mm-hmm.
No, 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 no.
I'm talking based
Right.
on what the Bible is saying.
Talking about
One
everything
thing that
what
you're
in the
sure that it
story,
wasn't
based on
born,
the story. It's
it could
not in
have
the
In
been
winter
any
winter.
time.
other season,
Yeah.
but winter. Could have
Yeah.
never
But
been
winter.
winter.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but there's no
Um
scholar who says he is, so that's why we discussing the date, right? That
Yeah.
right.
but
Mm-hmm.
even though Chris people, the layman, right, people
Mm-hmm.
who just profess religion or Christianity say, hey, this is the date he is born on.
Born,
What
yeah.
we're saying is there's no religious scholar that agrees with that, for
Could not
Yeah.
agree.
example, right?
Mm.
So we know he wasn't born, but the date itself throughout
It's
human
celebrated because
history.
of the historical
Yes,
and
it's
natural
celebrated
significance.
because of the historical
And
context.
natural.
Context
And
of it, yeah.
natural
Natural. It's very
significance,
natural.
yes.
If this
Mm-hmm.
time is natural.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, so that's why they put the date
The
in
date
this
to
time. So
coincide
so
with that, yes.
paganism in reality can never end, right?
Mm.
They
Yeah.
call it by different names, right?
Names.
But the
Mm-hmm.
celebration, that energy force or turning of the season, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even schools, for example, when they give you like where you live in what do you call a climate like America, for example, right? You would have spring break to celebrate the coming of spring, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is celebratory, because it's a
Yes, sir.
rebirth, right? It's a rebirth. It's life coming up
Mm-hmm.
again out
Mm-hmm.
ground.
Mm-hmm.
You see. So everything we do, if we look at throughout human history, when we put
Mm-hmm.
these days and dates,
Mm-hmm.
it's very natural.
Significant.
Yeah, but it's
Mm-hmm.
significant and natural, just how
Natural. Mm-hmm.
energy moves, and we can't
True.
move away from it.
That
No
yes,
matter
I.
what you think, but the date itself, if you're a Christian and you're celebrating Christmas, the date itself is only significant because of the historical aspect of it throughout
Of
time.
the date. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
of the
You
date.
know, you said something earlier to when you talk about people who are caught in this religious ideology and they're reverting to the text, right? The word. Like when people who study theologies, right, when they study the text or the canon, right, um, the they study it based off of the different languages. Because remember that these pieces of literature came to different languages, right?
Hmm.
So they study it based off of the original language and the other languages and other language. So if we even just relate to even English, right? Let's not even go to the Latins and the Hebrew and all of these languages, right? Go through and all of them things, right? Um, if we even look in English, you have words in English, right? That in 500 years ago had a completely different meaning to what it means today.
No. Mm-hmm.
Just in English. We're not even talking about from a different language, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, if a person doesn't have that historical context, when that person reads this text, right, their overstanding of that text is going to be based on their overstanding of the word in their time
Mm-hmm.
because they're not aware of the original
Meaning of the word.
Meaning of
meaning
the
of
word.
that word or context of that word in the time when it was
Right.
written,
Right.
right? So that is one of the major things that really break people away from the real core meaning of what is in the text because they don't have a historical or linguistic overstanding of the text. So if you don't have a linguistic and historical overstanding of it, then you should first of all, before you try push it down somebody's throat, you should first of all try to go and seek and get that overstanding.
And then you have to multiply that by what, two, three, four language, how many languages? You have to
Yes,
multiply it.
yes,
You know what I mean? So after you
yes,
multiply,
yes.
you figure out the English, then you have to multiply that by Latin and English.
Right.
Greek and
Yeah.
Hebrew and all of
Because
these
all the
things.
language have changed and the words are
Yeah.
changed. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? So it's, yeah, it could be confusing,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, them speak of let me change the subject, of Kwanzaa.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you them think about Kwanzaa?
I think
You know what I
of
mean? Black
Kwanzaa.
people saying that, you know what I mean? Like saying that, they're not celebrating Christmas because it's a pagan holiday, or it's, you know what I mean, a Caucasian holiday, but they're gonna change up and do Kwanzaa, which is
Mm-hmm.
more of an African thing or a black thing. Yeah, them think about that.
Mm. Well, that's the whole argument here. The whole argument is so Kwanzaa being a great time. I think um is important too. But again, back to my point,
At the
they
same
it's the
at the same
same
celebration.
period of time because of its historical context. Even if you
Mm-hmm.
wanted to call it Kwanzaa, or you wanted to call it something else, think about the time you're choosing. Even if you're saying this is something alternate to
Mm.
what the
It's the same time
Euro,
as Hanukkah too.
yes, this is something alternate to Christianity. Then you're
Mm-hmm.
saying this is more aligned with African
African
tradition and
ideologies.
principles,
Mm-hmm.
which is true. In its very nature, that is absolutely true. But the time period is the same because of its historical context. I think if you're African uh, and you're living in the West, it's important to adopt these type of ideology because it gives you a more sense of identity, right? if
Mm-hmm.
that if you're pan-africanist, for example, but the qualities that they speak about itself, it exists in I, we know what it is. That's why we're here. We know it, we live it. We live the qualities that they speak about, but the energy, the dates that they prescribe as the alternative, even the time is the same, right? Is the alternative, but the time you're celebrating it is the same time
Mm-hmm.
within the
And
same
again, it's because of the
Saturn.
same
Yeah,
energy
it's
again.
energy,
Same energy again.
same energy.
Um, what I think is that you see, African people, we go through a tremendous struggle. Brother Dolani referred to it as the Maangamizi.
Hmm.
And the the effects of it have caused us to search for our identity because through this Maangamizi, we were stripped of our identity. Right? Now, just like Rastafari, where Rastafari was a response to what finding our identity. I think that Kwanzaa is in the same vein where they're looking for an identity. You know, this is a time where we're all off. Everybody around us is celebrating something. We don't want to be celebrating the birth of this white, blonde hair, blue-eyed person. You understand? What can we do in this point of time that is going to steer African people away from this pagan celebration to their true African, or to a more African oriented celebration? And they came up with Kwanzaa in the core of it, in terms of what it represents and what it stands for and what it promotes, right? I think it is very good. It was a great effort to do, right? It was great because it created something that people could do in this period of time, which everybody was off, everybody in this celebratory mood. It created an option where they could think. But what we're saying is, we're saying that at the end of the day, it still goes right back to the natural world, and this energy that surrounds the natural world, the natural earth, rather, not world. And and they created these things around that time, and African people now come up with a thing that they can say, okay, we're gonna have our thing around this same period of time and make it celebratory as well. So I applaud that, but I don't want us to get caught up in this time period where I say, oh, because it's almost like at the same thing. And if you look on even the Christmas, right? If you look on even Christmas, remember, say it get to a point where them even stop calling it Christmas and them call it Xmas. So X in a mathematics is an unknown, right? So that means that this celebration, it can be an unknown celebration. Anything at all you want to celebrate around this time, you can celebrate, but we go celebrate around this time. So
But
until people understand why
right,
the celebration is,
Yeah.
which is
right.
the
Ma,
natural occurrence in
I want to
ma,
say though, Ras,
Mhm,
but
mhm,
Kwanzaa, I think Kwanzaa is clearer, right? And the
mhm,
reason why it's clearer, Kwanzaa itself means first harvest, right?
mhm.
So the term means first harvest. So
Harvest.
it's even showing you what they're speaking about. If you
Celebrating,
so
yes,
they're
sir.
identifying as first harvest, right? Where
Mhm,
Christians typically don't
mhm,
identify
mhm.
or
Right.
know that what
Mhm.
is actually happening is
Happening.
that them,
Right.
right?
Right.
That's
Right.
that's the original. So it offers that amount of clarity in that
Mhm.
sense, right? And then
Naturally.
the Nguzu Saba, what it does, it gives you the principles, right, for the seven
Mhm,
days
mhm,
determination, collective work and responsibility,
mhm,
unity. So it gives you these principles as well
right.
as
Mhm,
what is happening during that time. So Kwanzaa, I
right.
think, is a clear attempt
Mhm,
to at least bring you into realization of what they're
right.
speaking about, right?
Right.
As the
Right.
alternative, right? The
Mhm,
alternative is this is what our forefathers were really talking about
mhm,
as much as we understand it, which is the first harvest, right? So
mhm,
they're
mhm.
saying during this period of time, this is what is really we're looking forward to, right?
See it.
Saturn, right? The god of Saturn, stuff like that, and just agriculture and the trade. Kwanzaa is representing that clearer than does Christianity for the day itself, right? Because what they're dealing with is the birth of Christ, not understanding that that birth of Christ is that. That's why
Mhm,
it's in December.
so
mhm,
I have a problem with with those holidays, with the
mhm,
Kwanzaa and
Right.
the
mhm.
Hanukkah. You know what I mean? Because that I was saying, it's just really a reaction to I want to celebrate, but I don't want to celebrate what they're
That.
celebrating. So
Mhm,
for me, all I did was just change the name to something else and just continue with the celebration.
mhm.
Because really and truly, they're not celebrating the first harvest. That's what is name, but that's not they're celebrating. They're celebrating the normal things that goes on in Christmas. They put up
Mhm.
their Christmas tree, they put up their Christmas light, that all those things. They're not doing it's not the first harvest thing. All they do is change the name
I
because
think
we tell them about what's
No,
most in
going
the
on now.
original. I think in
Eh?
the original they were.
That's no, because
Yes.
that's
They say,
the
Hmm.
original says that,
Hmm.
but that's not what they're
Right.
doing though.
Right.
right.
So for me, all they want to do is just be a part of what's going on now.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So I don't like when especially as black people just change something name. They just change the name and call something. It's the same thing like you talk about Rastafari. Most
Change God and say
well,
Jah.
they just change. Yeah, they
God
just
and say
change
Jah.
to Jah or change even Rastafari said they just change him name to Rastafari. But everything where is about Jesus is the same thing they bring over to Rastafari and say
Hmm.
Rastafari is not dead. Rastafari is do some magic. Some things like that. All the things they just bring over to Rastafari. Same thing with so personally I don't like those things. You know what I mean? It's like you just really want to celebrate the holiday. I just call it a next name
Hmm.
and continue celebrating it. Yeah, man. If you want
See,
to
see.
celebrate the first harvest, it could be the 31st.
But the
Hmm.
point
You
is, it's
understand?
fine. It's fine. It's absolutely fine that men, even if they decide, hey, we're gonna do a alternate or give you a alternate meaning, and that this is what this is. This is, hey,
Hmm.
this is how you should be looking at it. I think when um the Kwanzaa, the whole concept of Kwanzaa was, hey, listen, this is the African alternative, and the African alternative would be something more in line with nature.
Nature.
So,
Hmm.
so I think even though you're saying, hey, listen, they changed the name, they have only changed the name, they're no longer speaking about any birth or
Hmm.
any in the sense of a man then, right? They're not talking about
Hmm.
Christ or any deity in
Hmm.
this sense being born, although they are and they don't know it, right? Because even if you're saying, hey, it's harvest or first harvest, then we still dealing with pre-religious identity or movement of human beings naturally, right? Where they know the time is changing, right? As far as
Hmm.
recording time, right? So
Hmm.
Kwanzaa is giving you an alternate. They're not just changing the name, they saying, hey, during this time, this is what's happening.
And
Now,
bringing certain African principles to
yeah,
it
to
as well.
bring in
But what
African
Okabongo
principles.
is
They're not
saying,
changing the name.
Yeah.
but
Bingy.
what Okabongo is saying is that originally they came up with this idea and they were doing it, but most of the people that practice this, they a lot of them don't even know enough of the things. Them
Well,
just them
what,
just
They
are
what,
don't
doing it
care about it
because of the
either.
time.
Just like what they don't care. All right, most people know. You know that most people know who call themselves even Christians or Christian minded people. When December 25th come up,
You
they
know,
don't care
nothing to
nothing
do
about
with
no
Jesus.
Jesus. They don't
No.
care about no Jesus.
About gifts and
It's
the
about
trees
whatever is
and
going on in the
the
time.
mistletoe and
It's Christmas tree and Christmas light and you know what I mean?
but
And,
that's
and,
why I
and
said. I
yeah,
said before that even though, right, and you're talking about people, Christmas and stuff, even though people are different faiths, right? You have different faith when this time come, right? Now, Christmas and the Christmas tree and all of that, that becomes a cultural thing where everybody during this time is doing, right? Think about
yeah.
it. I know Muslims who have Christmas trees in their house, right? We know that. That's fine.
mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying to you, man can escape this period of time here, no matter what
It's
he
not fine.
does.
It's not fine with me.
No.
Yeah, it's not.
It's fine because
You
you
have a
can't
Christmas tree in
change it.
your house?
You can't change it.
We attack
You Okavongo.
me. I
Uh-huh.
mean, say it's not fine with me. That's what I say all
Right. So
ago.
you
It's
don't
not.
have one, but the Muslim that have one is fine with him. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
fine. It's
Yeah.
fine with
Okay.
him.
yeah,
It's fine with
absolutely.
him. Eh.
But
Every
Bingy,
one of them choice to do what them other one.
I don't want to go off topic, but so Kwanzaa is said to be the first harvest, right?
Yeah,
But I don't understand it because
The days.
the season. How
the
could it be the first
season.
Because there's
harvest?
So
no
I
harvest in
think
the
what
season.
happened, right? If we look at the calendar, right?
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day when they were writing these calendars for harvest and stuff, it was also in correlation of this your solar system, right? For example, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
the so like the Zodiac, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when they
Mm-hmm.
say first harvest, they'll say, well, hey, that's That's Saturn, for example. So Saturn in this phase then. So certain parts of the earth, and when they're writing these stories, remember that these regions, right, their seasonal changes are different to what we experience.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
so because it's different from what we experience, that
Okay,
was the
okay.
time when they'll
Mm-hmm.
be coming into harvest or they're looking forward to
To
spring
harvest,
then.
okay.
Yeah,
Also,
so
it's not the same season like okay, because I'm
right,
not saying
yeah,
like no, it's not harvest. Like you know what I mean? I'm looking at
yeah,
it now and
yeah,
say
yeah.
no, it's not
So
harvest. And
yeah,
it could be also with the months because remember the months has
yeah, yeah,
changed too
yeah. So
because
that's why they
December
do it.
is the 10th. Was it what the 10th month?
The 10 months.
I know it's not the 10th month. It's the
Right.
12th month.
The
So
12.
I
So the
think
days were
Mm.
different, the calendar was
was
different,
different.
but
Okay, okay,
so
okay,
that's why they celebrate it like that with the
okay.
zodiac.
So in that time it was the time of
Yes,
harvest. So, but
absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely.
it's the thing. I see
But
that
it
now.
stayed.
So
But at the
if
point,
you
it stayed.
but look, I'm saying. Well, I don't know how the geography of Africa like that is not if you say the seasons or the
Right,
seasons going, but
right.
I'm just saying like no, if we are saying we're gonna celebrate the harvest, then no, it's not the harvest in where we are now. So we are celebrating.
You're not
Because
celebrating
it's
that, you're
attached to the
celebrating,
winter
yes,
solstice.
yes, the association, which is
To the winter
energy, you know.
solstice.
Huh?
Again,
Because
No, I'm saying
the
if in
time is
America,
associated.
in America or in Jamaica right now, you are celebrating the harvest, which is Kwanzaa. I'm just saying if you're really celebrating Kwanzaa, it couldn't be now.
Mm-hmm.
well, it is now. It is now based on the zodiac. So these things are based on astrological
No,
events,
no,
you know.
but before the Zodiac, there's an event, which
Yeah,
is the harvest, right?
and it still
Yeah, so
is.
the harvest just to farm and those Zodiac,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
So I'm saying if we are celebrating the harvest, it couldn't be now, right?
Not in its actuality in
Right,
America,
that's what I'm
right?
talking about.
Right.
Because
Well,
it's really the harvest they are celebrating, and
mhm.
Mm-hmm.
not the Zodiac, or the date, It's the
Yeah,
harvest. The harvest does fall on around a particular time.
right.
Because they will work off of the zodiac.
Right.
They will
We
work
fall in
off
our
of the
time.
zodiac.
So
So this
is
will
the
come in
harvest
now.
is the harvest which determine the zodiac.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, the zodiac
No,
determine the
the
harvest.
zodiac. The
Determine the
not yeah,
harvest.
it's not that
No,
way
And,
because
what they go
no,
on in the earth
the reason
determine
why
when the
that is
thing could
true is
manifest in the harvest.
yeah,
what?
yeah.
And what go on in the earth, the man, like for example, the full
No,
moon.
to the harvest is what's going on.
Yeah,
Remember, say a
you're
man create the
saying,
zodiac, A man create the zodiac,
and a man create the zodiac, man. Man record the zodiac.
Man, I create the
That is.
zodiac.
No,
Man record the
the
zodiac,
happening.
man. Yeah.
We ask, we split up the thing and I say, a man do that say, okay, this is winter, this is spring, this is what,
To
A
give
man
it
do
a
that,
terminology.
Yeah.
To give it a
So
terminology,
me I
but
say the
this
harvest
is a
when the
natural thing.
harvest go on,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
is the time when man identify as this is
This part of the zodiac.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So because him identify it as that part of the zodiac, means that him create it, him just give a terminology to it for say, this entity, this energy, what they go on in the earth in a this time, we go call it this. Just for communication purpose. If them never call it that, it's still a happening in the earth.
Yeah, me I say so the
Right.
harvest is wagwan.
Right.
Yeah.
But what we are said today, I say, is that is not the harvest that control the zodiac, and the zodiac control the
No
Yeah,
man, me
harvest.
I
That's what we
said
are
that
said
what is
today.
going on now is the harvest and the
Mm-hmm.
harvest fall in the part of
The
the
period of,
zodiac where them say
mm-hmm.
is that season or
but
whatever.
Right.
the truth is, right? If we want to take it down to that level as well, the harvest is going on all the time, you know, in reality, right? Because
Well,
when you're looking at the harvest from a certain perspective, right? But harvest going on right now in America, in a
yeah,
temperate zone, you have harvest going on right
harvest
now.
going on.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So
we again, because harvest is continual, it's a perpetual thing. It's moving with the zodiac because the zodiac is determined what is happening within now. For example, if you were to look at China right now, they have Mid Autumn Festival going on right now in China,
Springtime.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because again,
The
it's
same
moving
energy
it with the
again.
zodiac eye. There's no
right,
man is like Ross saying, just identifying things happening
happening in the
within that
zodiac. Okay.
period, and it's from
Hmm.
time immemorial. It's nothing new. It's
Yeah.
very natural.
So back to the Christmas argument now, or
Yeah.
no, not the Kwanzaa argument.
Right.
If we in this area
Dispensation.
and what's going on right now in our geography
Mhm.
is wanna celebrate the, you know what I mean? It wouldn't be no.
No, but it could be now because it have harvest going on now too. Harvest
Where?
going on now. It have apples. It have climate. It have fruit. It have bar.
Apple season done, man. But they make sure I
All
go pick
right,
some apple
but
and it done.
it have pumpkin. It have all kind of thing growing right now in the earth.
But Bingy, I think the harvest is mean like the main harvest. I mean, a lot of things is coming in. You know what
No,
I mean?
no,
Like
no.
the main harvest.
I think you're associating harvest with temperature. I think right now you're associating
Not
climate.
really.
Yeah,
It's when a lot of things are coming in, like you know what I mean. When
yeah,
they
but I'm
all right,
saying
like in October, we had a
right.
harvest. We're going to pick apples. We're going to pick pumpkin, peach. You know, that's a harvest. No, it's
But
not
that is
really.
celebrate. But that is all. It's perpetual because you're celebrating it all the time, Roots. Listen to what I'm saying to you.
No,
Even though they call it
Bingy.
the harvest now, in response to Christmas, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
You still have the autumn coming, right? Where you'll have
Right.
a harvest, right? Then you're gonna have spring. You're gonna have fall, but you still have harvest going on within these periods of time. I'm
Yeah,
saying
but
to you, when you
Bingy.
say harvest, you're more thinking uh, climate related and celebratory in a quantity. That's what the I saying. But
But
harvest is always happening.
the harvest is normally climate related still because you know what I mean certain things grow in certain climates and is harvest at a certain time.
Right,
I'm saying no in our geography there is no like first harvest going on now. Like what is a multitude right now.
right.
I don't know nothing that is in a multitude right now in this geographical space we're in now. So no, we're gonna be harvest. Maybe in October when apples are in abundance and you know what I mean those fruits is in abundance and pumpkin is in abundance. We're gonna say okay, that's
Right.
harvest. Yeah,
All right.
No, but
You
again,
have a lot of crops that were harvested in the winter time too.
of course that's the thing said. There's always thing we are going.
Mm-hmm.
But we are talking about the abundance there. I don't know
No,
still.
no, but remember, say your first harvest is never the abundant one.
I
Your
win.
first harvest is never the abundant harvest. Your first crop, the first thing that come in, is
Yeah.
never the abundant one. And again, I think we need to remember, say the real reason why this thing I deal with is because of the winter solstice. You understand?
No, we are
So
talking about
it's
Kwanzaa,
just
we are talking about Kwanzaa.
right. But what we are say Kwanzaa as well is putting this time period again because of them awareness of the
yes.
winter
No,
solstice
but
and the and
Kwanzaa is supposed to be something different from them thing there.
it
It
can't
Remember,
be
is.
so we are say,
different
okay,
from
we
it,
not
fire.
for them thing, we are the our African thing.
Well, what I say, it can't be different for you because that's why we come to the core of it, you know. Instead of looking at the the like for example, then right in at the time of Hercules, if we go back to Hercules, because I did write down Hercules,
Mm-hmm.
right? December 25th, them would have celebrate Hercules Mass. I could
Mm-hmm.
just use that, right?
Right.
So but the real significance, right, is not Hercules. The real significance is the winter solstice. 1,000 years ago, the significance was the winter solstice. Today, the significance is still the winter solstice. But what them do with religion is them
Dada,
associate it to the deity.
what is the winter solstice? Huh?
The winter solstice is the changing of the cycle of the sun,
Right.
right? In at the time
Mhm,
period, right? So
mhm,
Yeah.
them identify those days in at the
mhm.
time period between I think the 22nd of December to the 25th of December. I think it's those 3 days or
Right.
somewhere in that time
Right.
period, right? They have the winter solstice occurring. So them because them are aware of this occurrence in our earth,
Yeah.
them commemorate it with a celebration throughout time, right? So because in our time, them associated to a white, blonde ear, blue eyed God. African people at the time who did try to separate themselves from
Mm-hmm.
this identity. Say, listen, we know that this is a significant period of time in the earth.
Mm-hmm.
We know the significance of it. So we go celebrate with it. But we're not going to celebrate this white, blonde hair, blue eye God. We are going to celebrate something about our Africanness. And them in the days now, them identify certain principles where them are go
But Dada,
focus on.
the Kwanzaa is something we are going on in African tradition for a long time, not just because something there, made them say Kwanzaa, right?
No, Kwanzaa, right?
No,
The
Kwanzaa.
happening, the
specifically.
No.
harvest is
Yeah,
something
Mm-hmm.
we are going on.
Mm-hmm.
right,
Maybe the name Kwanzaa is something, but I said it happening a go on long time,
right.
just like you said the stories are going
Mm-hmm.
for a while,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Seeing.
Which you're
So they
talking
have been
about
harvesting for
principles.
a long time. The first
Right,
harvest are going for a long time
Mm-hmm.
before, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It even have a date or you put a date on it before there was even date.
right.
It was happening.
Yeah. It's
So I'm
historical.
saying, is it significant? Let me try to show you now. It's supposed to be the first harvest
Mm-hmm.
because if that's what you're celebrating,
Yeah, the
When you say
first harvest.
Kwanzaa,
Yeah,
when you say
yeah.
Kwanzaa,
The first harvest. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
yeah. But again, we talking about in relation to Zodiac, for example, right? So remember even the word itself, Kwanzaa, for example, the word is Swahili, right?
Mm-hmm.
mhm.
Think
Mm-hmm.
about it. Right now,
But this is a point before you
we
even go to that, no fire. When you say Kwanzaa is celebrating in Africa, me not sure of that, if Kwanzaa is celebrated in Africa,
no.
because them just use the word to
Yeah,
identify something out of African
So
language.
so yeah.
Mm-hmm.
right.
For first Kwanzaa, I will make Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa make what they want. Somebody come up with it.
Mm-hmm. In
Yeah,
America.
Dr.
Yeah, yeah, in
Karanja.
America, right? May I
Karanja.
say,
Malanga.
we don't do the
Mm-hmm.
name of happening though, we actually happen
Mm-hmm.
though.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
So
yeah.
the first harvest is something that will happen in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
right.
absolutely. So the word
Right.
itself is Swahili, but if we look
Yeah.
about if we look at the word and we look at it in context, right? And we say Swahili now and it put it in this region of East Africa, let's say, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Right now, if we look at what's happening because it's the zodiac, it's rainy season in those regions too, right? So Swahili
Mm.
speaking regions, right? Right
Mm.
now it's a lot
Mm.
of rain, right? Sure that
Yeah.
yeah, it's rain, right? So again, what they identifying and rather keep this in context is really how things are working with these zodiac rather than it's a climatic thing too. But I think when we say harvest I think we have to get out of the mindset of this abundance in the sense the I talking about, but that every season something is represented. And even when men name important day or dates, it's
Mm-hmm.
always in relation to this thing that they've identified within the zodiac, for example. Literally, that's all it is, It's not, so Kwanzaa, Kwanzaa did was just identify something called the first harvest.
Harvest.
How
Mm-hmm.
they gonna celebrate it now? The hypocrisy of celebration is the hypocrisy of celebration, right? I'm this, I'm that, but then when we come to it all, we're gonna just all do it, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
you'll fight it when you're finished, do it, right? So again, Christmas is something that everybody celebrates like everybody from every walk of life, basically, right? You and I might not celebrate it, but for the majority of human beings, they could just go in about the business because it's also they can't help it. That's what I'm saying. They can't help it. The celebratory nature is historical. That's why we're talking about the date itself and what it really represents. So harvest, don't get caught up in what the harvest like you thinking in this harvest is happening all the time in all seasons.
Dengue. All right. Let me show you what I try to say because I think the other man missed my point. No, I think it's summer in Australia, right?
Right.
And let's say Australia have a summer festival going on right now.
Hmm.
But let's say summer festival is traditionally an Australian thing. They keep the summer festival every year. On December the 31st. They
Right.
have the summer festival because it's summer in Australia,
Yeah.
right? And an Australian moved to America and live in Australia now. And then the summer festival is going on, and then now they must say, okay, we're gonna have our summer festival right now. You get what I say?
Hmm.
But no, it's not summer in America.
Right.
But because of tradition, Ashton will say, well, I'm a summer festival. Because summer festival time now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, may I say?
Yeah, yeah,
But may I
yeah.
say, but in fact, in America, it wouldn't really be a summer festival.
No, but that is not what we talking about. I think that is a confusion. I understand what the I saying, right? The
May
I
I say though?
saying,
May I
you know,
say? So may I
yes,
say
yes.
if maybe the first harvest is happening somewhere on earth, no. But if we should be celebrating some kind of first harvest, I don't think that's happening right
No,
now.
but I think I now get what it is. But when these holidays, right, that are prescribed, and listen to me, that are prescribed like Christmas and Kwanzaa and stuff, right? They never talking about now and where you live. They're talking about it in that historical context in which it's coming out of. For example, when they say they harvest or Swahili or they're using date lines, it's not the present date lines or time periods that we necessarily in right now, right? Because when these men are writing or they're taking their ideology out of Africa, for example, they're going back in history, you know. They're not talking about present day. They always bring in that historical view with the celebration. For example, Christ being celebrated on the 25th of December, we know no historian would agree with the date, right? But the celebration itself has a historical meaning. So because of its historical meaning predating Christianity, that's why we still celebrating it. It is out of context if you're looking at the time period in which it is celebrated because it must be so. So nobody's celebrating Christmas in June. They're celebrating it in December.
December 25th. And the
Always.
reason why they
Yeah.
celebrate it is because that is the
Right.
winter
So
solstice.
so that I think that's what the eye missing. When we talking about these dates, they're only talking about it in its historical context, not in present time, ever. They're not doing that. No. They're saying this is what is happening historically with mankind then.
At
Like
this time.
literally.
At this time.
Historically. Now you would say, well, hey, it's this the seasons, so you're relating the seasons from one place to the other. But the conversation is always based on this historical movement. Always. So even when you talk about Christ, you can only talk about Christ in a historical context, the time in which he's been purported to live, right? You can't talk about him in no other way. You can only talk about him in that way in which he was written about.
Bingy,
And
me understand where you're saying now. I don't understand what you're saying, but I'm just saying, like, I don't think we should just be celebrating just because in this time a celebration is going on. Our celebration should have some kind of meaning. And if you're going to bring something to the table and say, okay, we should celebrate this, if it has some kind of meaning and does not just be
but
celebrating
it do though.
because.
That's what I'm saying. It
Yeah,
do.
but if you're celebrating, if I say, you know what I mean, all right, when you celebrate your birthday, you celebrate your birthday on this day because that's the date you were born. You don't celebrate it another day because, you know what I mean.
Because your birthday is personal to you and it's not a historical event. A historical event doesn't it takes shape within that period of history and is always looked upon in that same manner throughout time. I don't think man even if man was to say let's say religion, for example, they purport the birth, right, of this Christ or whatever, or they speak about the creation story. They're gonna give the creation story, for example, a historical timeline when they think this God created the earth and this that, right? Because you could only look at it from that point of view. And with these type of celebrations, that's what I'm saying. Like that is the only point of view you can really look at it. Like we can look at it and say, well, hey, it's it's winter in America, so it can't be this because they're not speaking
But
about
I'm
it.
saying, why are you celebrating then? What are you celebrating? Because if it's
So
winter
so they,
here
they
and
so
summer
so
somewhere
for
else, and there
example,
is summer. Huh?
so if we looking at Kwanzaa, the first day is Umoja, which is unity, right? So they're saying celebrate this day now in a unified consciousness, right? Now, and then they'll go on to the second day, which is self-determination, Kaji Shukilaya, right? Um, I think they presenting something. Do people actually follow it? That's the argument, right? Do people actually follow these celebration or the days in which it was prescribed? I really
Some
don't
people
know
do.
that a lot of people actually
Some people do.
do,
You
right?
all have
And a lot of people
people who
do.
do.
What I'm saying, we not thinking in masses in the sense of how
Mm.
people celebrate Christmas, for
Mm.
example, but there are a
No.
lot of people that celebrate Kwanzaa, right? And
Like
it's
that. Yeah,
true
man.
principle, whether we
Mm-hmm.
seeing it or not seeing it, but there are a lot of people actually out there
And it
celebrating
is only in that
Kwanzaa
period
the
of
way
time as
it's
well.
meant to be celebrated,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
with all
I
those
think the
principles
next thing
in
we're gonna
line.
identify being it what caused the missing in it as well is where you say it referred to first harvest, right?
Yeah, yeah,
When the actual um translation is first fruits,
right.
right?
Hmm.
So when you talk about the first fruits, now the fruits what I talk about in a Kwanzaa aren't literal fruits. It I talk about fruits of like 'cause fruits is what is produced, right?
Hmm.
So the things that we want to produce in ourselves are unity,
Hmm.
self-determination. These are the fruits that them I talk about.
Yeah, collective
So
work.
that's what it's talking about. You
Yeah,
understand what I'm saying?
yeah.
So that is why I'm associate that with it. So what we are say is it's associated, but we get what you say still like you say. Basically, it's just a Christmas them a celebrate, but them just a call it something
That's
different.
what it is. This is Sky
Right.
another name.
So we get what they are saying, but what we are saying is the reason why that point that is celebrated, right, is not because of a Jesus Christ. It is
Hmm.
because of what is going on in the earth at that time period. You get what I'm saying? So this is a significant time in the earth. Whether you're Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, whatever you identify as,
You
right?
see, it's the first fruit thing we talked a while ago. I don't know if I some kind of, like some Bible thing we are interpret it, whatever we want to interpret it.
I'm not
But
interpreting the man set it up so brother. I'm going to write it and set it up so.
no, but
But but
remember the
wait, he get it
actual
from
happening was
somewhere.
there before he set it up.
Yeah,
Hmm?
yeah.
Yeah,
The term itself is Swahili, right? So he's getting it
Yes,
yeah.
that's what it, the
from
term
Africa,
is, him
right?
take it from the term Matunda ya Kwanzaa.
Right, right,
Mm,
That's the term I
right.
take it from. Matunda ya Kwanzaa.
Yeah,
yeah,
Right?
Matana.
Mm. Mm.
yeah. But me I say
So,
him take the actual events that are going on. I don't like say him just make up something. You know what I mean?
Right, right, right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
mm.
yeah, yeah. So it's actual principles.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
That's
just
why.
like
But that's why I
yeah.
said before, those principles are things that live within I and I,
He
right?
didn't put a name to it
Unity,
and say okay,
purpose,
whatever. But was thing.
creativity. All those
Yeah.
are things within man. So I'm
Mhm.
saying though, the reason why they presenting it, he's still presenting it in a clear understanding. I think the harvest is what they are getting caught up on. The term
Mhm.
harvest, right?
Mhm.
Rather than what the Nguzu Saba is really putting forth, right? When we look at what is putting forth.
Bingy. I don't just think that because somebody set up something and say, okay, this is what happened here or happened now. We should just celebrate it because, you know what I mean? Somebody create something.
People celebrating it
No.
whether or not.
Yeah, that is it. They
People
don't
celebrating it
matter.
whether or not.
So me know that people celebrate. Me not talk about no people. Me not talk about. Me know that people do it.
Mhm.
That's not the thing. But I'm saying
Mhm.
why we are do it. I'm not talk about why we are do that.
All right. The reason why we are do it is
Mm-hmm.
because people are celebrating whether or not. Right? So
So because me not get what you're saying that.
instead of
Mm-hmm.
our children coming up and everybody I teach them Christmas, Jesus' birthday, Rare. That's what they're taught. So it must present an opportunity in a time where everybody is peaked towards this energy. Where it give you a point now where you can input some Africanness in the children, brother. Because that's why it really, that's the purpose it really serve.
It is
So in
natural
this
though.
time,
Brother,
in
they
this
don't feel
time,
like I just involve them want involved in a Christmas. You remember say you have
but them
people
already
where
involved in a Christmas before Kwanzaa fire. Them
oh
already involved in a Christmas.
I know
Before
so
them
I
come
say
up with Kwanzaa,
I
them
mean I say I
involved in
just
a Christmas.
Christmas with a different name. I just Christmas with a
No,
different name. All them do I just change
no.
name and say, okay, this is what it was and where, but nothing not really change. For the people them that celebrate for a long time. Nothing not really change for them. But you have other people who not celebrate no Christmas. I mean about black people, I talk about other people.
Them
Nah,
no call
celebrate no
it
Christmas.
Christmas.
Eh?
Them no call it Christmas.
No, let me say they no business with no Christmas. Them go
Right.
about them
De-
normal life.
December 25th celebrated around the world in another day. And
Dada.
not just
And
in a
still,
Western
me I
culture.
say, you have other
Mhm.
people where just go about them life and a
Mhm.
busy about no Christmas. Them
But
True.
even
normal
in
life.
those places where people that go about them life and don't busy about Christmas, them still a celebrate Christmas just the
Other
same way.
people. But me
Right.
I talk about,
Yeah.
alright, because like you have man where I go through,
Mhm.
man and woman I go through
Mhm.
and now
Mhm.
celebrate Christmas. Because you have to wait,
Absolutely.
so,
Absolutely.
Right.
so even though Christmas celebrating everywhere, you
Mhm.
have people who are go through.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You have groups of people, you have single people, all different,
Yeah.
whatever.
Absolutely.
I go through and not don't care nothing about no Christmas.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So when me I
Absolutely.
say we not have to care about nothing about no Christmas and have to make something else to
I think I
continue to
think I
celebrate
think
Christmas.
I think you have to
No.
understand context as well. See?
Yeah. I think.
You talk about people in an American society. Black people. Listen to me I say for you. You talk about black people in an American society where Christmas is almost the biggest holiday in America. Right? Christmas are the biggest holiday in America.
No.
And in
Thanksgiving.
America,
Thanksgiving.
well, all right, Thanksgiving, if you
Yeah.
want to say that, the second biggest then.
The
Right?
second biggest. Yeah.
Right? The
Yeah.
second biggest then, if you
Mm,
want to say that. So
yeah.
what may I say is you in a Christmas, black people, this thing I push down black people throat, brother. And black people actually, all right, we can't do nothing about what they push down with you, you know. This a come down with you. We half a work. Everybody the home, everybody in a celebratory and gathering mood and family mood. You understand? So, all right, what we are gonna do? We are gonna do something. We are gonna make an effort to do something identify our Africanness in this time period because we have the opportunity and we have the time. So there's a time and a space available to do it. And the man come up with an idea to do it, brother. But get what I say in terms of the celebration of a Christmas by a different name. But what I'm saying is sometimes we have to do things in a the time space where we did to my lord. You see me? In a the time
Dada,
when them did it, it is
changing the
necessary to
name of
do.
Christmas
Mm-hmm.
to Kwanzaa, because that's what basically happened. And that's why most people who even when them say them nah do it, I that them I do. Then just change the name and now I don't celebrate Christmas, I celebrate Kwanzaa. But them do
That's your
everything
view.
else where Christmas entails, everything that we do at Christmas, that's what them do.
But
No, but I
them
don't
do
think they
different things
change
in
the
a
name. I
Kwanzaa.
don't. I don't think that is a fair
Them do
assessment.
things in a Kwanzaa, them do
I don't.
different
I
things
don't
in a
think that is
but
a
again,
fair assessment, and I tell you why. The
How
name
much
didn't
person you
change.
know? Me know say enough, you know enough people where I say, boy, Kwanzaa you did no Kwanzaa or Happy Kwanzaa. When we have Christmas Day, I say Happy Kwanzaa.
Hmm.
But even the thing where the youth come up with and say, okay, this is Kwanzaa. How much people you know actually practice that?
there
Oh
are people
well.
practice it
No,
now.
let me ask you.
No, personally, I only know one brother that actually celebrate Kwanzaa. Me personally,
I don't know none.
out
Mm-hmm.
of everybody, but that don't mean they don't have large groups of people celebrating
But
Kwanzaa, right? We
I'm gonna
know
say
that to
that
be true.
dingy. You see, on Christmas Day,
Yeah.
a lot of brethren and sisters are gonna send me or I gonna send them post Happy
Merry
Kwanzaa.
Christmas.
No, Happy Kwanzaa.
Happy Kwanzaa. Right.
Yeah, you gonna see that.
Oh.
But them now, they not really a practice no Kwanzaa.
It's Christmas they want
Because
to
in
see.
their mind, them know say Christmas and not something where we really fear celebrate. But so them say, okay, Kwanzaa, but I really Christmas,
It's
them really are doing
Christmas.
this thing.
All right,
Yeah.
that. You see that? that are really the intention of Kwanzaa. For make black people know say Christmas
Aware.
is not something they have to celebrate.
But they must celebrate
That
the
way you
same
say
way
a
and
while
call it
ago?
Kwanzaa.
Right. So that's why I say a while ago. And the intention of it to make black people know say
That we know the
Christmas is
intent.
not something they have
That
to
we know the
celebrate.
intention is. We
Mm-hmm.
mention Rastafari. We know the
Mm-hmm.
intention, you know. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that we have to go past the intention.
Mm-hmm. All right. When is Kwanzaa?
The December 26th to January 1st. To
Yeah.
celebrate
So
it
if
right
a person
after.
send you something pa December 25th, we say happy Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa no start
It
till the
ain't
26,
start.
26th.
whatever, Mike. That
No,
26. Okay, you're
no,
saying
no, no,
26.
is
Same
it?
thing.
No, 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 no. But what I saying is the mindset again. That's why I said before that everybody, right, during the season, even though you might not be a Christian, they have an inclination towards the celebration itself, right? Because if Kwanzaa start on the 26th, and a man saying to you on December 25th, Happy
Happy
Kwanzaa,
Kwanzaa. Yeah.
he is already in that atmosphere of
Celebratory mood.
celebration.
Right.
Yeah, that's why he's
Mm-hmm.
saying it.
Yeah,
He
that
not
make them know say
recognizing it, but it
already
is
Christmas must
there.
celebrate.
Yeah, man. Yeah, yeah. That real thing.
Right, anyway,
No, it's good.
listen.
I think it's Christmas is what it is, right? It's a cultural thing going on. I don't prescribe to it because I know better. I think I think the meaning is more significant than what they turn it into, right?
Yeah.
Especially when we live in the West, right? I think there's more significance to it than just saying, "Hey, this is the birthday of Christ," but you really
Here's
don't
some
even know
gifts.
who Christ is.
Don't even
Like
know
in
who Christ
reality,
is.
you have no
Most
idea who
people,
Christ is.
most
Yeah,
people in America celebrating Christmas don't know. Me say, you go and ask them
yeah,
why are you celebrating Christmas? They don't even know that is the
yeah,
birth of Christ.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's the
They don't even
holidays.
know. And I'm
I
talking
think I
Christian
want
minded
us to
people.
I think I want us to really acknowledge as well too, the reasoning is
It's
that
a runway,
it
another.
yeah is that it it's past now a religious celebration
Yeah.
and gone way commercial now. You
Right,
understand what I'm saying? So it's gone
right.
back pagan again. You see me? According to them description. You understand? So it just shows that the real root of it are really, have nothing to do with religion or anything. I just we have to know what the root is. And it's important that we know what the root is. But so this is a reason I can go on and on.
Yeah, yeah,
Favor, man.
So we do give
Favor.
thanks for the moment, do give thanks for the thought process. Remember we're still on the road to 1K, you know. Do remember to like, share, and subscribe. We're always welcoming comments so we can see what your viewpoints are as well on these topics that we discuss. Have a wonderful season. You know, be careful because we know as well that in this season a lot of things happen. So be careful as you go about your daily sojourns. You know, give thanks for life. Brother Bingi,
yes, sir. Good
Okavango the
thanks for
Rebel
that.
Guru, Yaga wherever you are, aka Teacher Ma'at. I'm Ras Dada. Do give thanks for the moment. Give thanks for life.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
I.
I said the perfect balance TrodClass. I don't know, see, I something living for this represents. Good over evil, me tell them, see a life over them.